Hey, you got Fun Kids right now. It's Conor with you, and we have got, well, a guest that I'm very excited about. David James is with us. David, how are you?
Conor, I'm very well, thank you. How are you?
Yeah, I'm very well. It's a privilege speaking to you. I'm a huge football fan, so this is a big old moment for me. So thank you for popping by.
My pleasure. Thank you.
So you're working on on something at the minute called Football Rebooted. You can see there on your jersey, you're wearing it as well. Something that you're
Yep.
backing right now. For everybody listening that is maybe completely unaware as to what this is, little understanding from you.
Okay, so situation in simplistic terms, because of the pandemic, a lot of families, a lot of people are struggling financially. The way that people buy football boots and use them a little bit and then discard them, throw them away, end up in landfill. We are potentially adding 1 million pairs of football boots to landfill, which is bad for the environment. So what Football Rebooted does is takes these pre-loved boots, still usable boots, collects them at local schools. The local schools then distribute them in the local ecosystem, in the local area. And these boots can be picked up by people who are struggling to be able to afford boots for the kids, usually, whose feet are growing and need a new pair of football boots. It's very simple.
This is what I loved about Football Rebooted when I was getting an understanding of it myself. It feels like there's kind of two areas that is tackling here. One being the environment, yes. And another one also being children that maybe don't have the privilege of getting new football boots and able to play, therefore encouraging exercise in children at school. Was that kind of the idea behind it?
Absolutely, absolutely. I mean, we're in school holidays now. I've just driven down the local post office and seen a load of kids out there playing football. I'm thinking this is exactly what we need. We need, and I don't know the kids. I mean, it's not about that, but I'm sure there are kids who the parents have sent them out in the boots they had from last time round. They're too small. Their feet are aching because they literally cannot afford to play to buy a new pair of boots, and because of that, the fun of having the game of football then becomes slightly compromised. Whereas if they're able to pick up a pair of boots from Football Rebooted, then they can go out there, enjoy themselves. They have the physical benefits of this, the mental health benefits of it, and the social benefits because they're out there with their mates. And I've been around, I have to say, in the last few months where I've been doing different grassroots activities, I've met loads of kids who love football. Some of them know more about football than I do, it seems. And others don't even support a football team. They're just there with their mates having a kick around. And that's why football is such a wonderful sport and so good for people to be involved with.
Yeah, I think I remember when I was at school, actually, football was a massive part of my growth. I played football for 13, 14 years, always done it, always something that I enjoyed massively. And I think when I was at school, there was bins that they used to just put boots in for kids.
Mm.
And it was kind of, you could go there and pick a pair that would fit. Half the time you'd end up getting one boot on one foot and another boot on the other foot. But it feels like this is just a much better version of that kind of concept, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think I'm not going to age you at all in this, but I think you go back a good few years, boots were generally made out of leather,
Yeah.
and they weren't good to use secondhand, if you like. Whereas nowadays the boots are made out of a much more durable material. The way that people consume products, especially football boots, they might change a few times in a season. I know guys who, young lads who have got 2 or 3 pairs of boots, which because they've changed the color scheme, they've gone for a new pair of boots, and in the end, those old boots are just lingering around in a cupboard in the back of someone's car. They could be used by someone who, as I say, doesn't want to become the next Mo Salah,
Yeah.
Harry Kane. They just want to go out there and have a kick around with their mates. And as you said, the old idea worked. This is a better version of it because, again, it keeps it in the ecosystem and it goes to people who need it.
Exactly, and I think it's spreading the awareness of it as well. I think the message behind it, obviously being a football fan as well, is massive. I think it's really, really important for everybody
Mm.
listening across the UK. That be kids, parents, grandparents that may have a son right now listening. How do they get involved? From that young kid at school, how do they get involved all the way up to kind of the grandparent that maybe takes their kid to a football game every Sunday? I guess it's for everybody, isn't it, to get
It,
involved
it,
in?
do you know what, Conor? It is for everybody, and the beauty of this is that um, because it's in the schools, essentially you're sort of targeting school kids. But if you go to footballrebooted.co.uk, then you'll get more information about it. Because as I say, my thing is it's not just about kids when it comes to grassroots, because there's a lot of adults that go out there. When you look at the recycling side of it, as I say, you've got boots, which, like myself, I've donated boots. I was in Soccer Aid a couple of months ago. I've managed to get 6-7 pairs of boots from the lads playing in the England team there. They've gone into the Football Rebooted system. These are brand new boots. These are essentially this season's boots. So the sort of level of boot that is available goes across the board. I mean, I'm sure there will be, when you talk about grandparents and parents especially, some of these guys will have a pair of boots which might be like 10, 15 years old, which are classics. Now, it would be great, and I know Jack Grealish did this not so long ago, wore a pair of old classic boots, and everyone was buzzing about it. So, there's all sorts of boots out there, but the main important thing here is that these boots can be reused and someone can benefit from being able to get them. So anyone who's interested, anyone who's got a pair of boots just sat there in the cupboard, what am I going to do with these? As I say, footballrebooted.co.uk, they give you all the information you need to know.
Yeah, I think the old school boots cannot be beaten. I mean, I remember back when I was playing, I always wanted the colourful ones. You always wanted the fancy ones, the ones that the best player was wearing. But realistically, the Copa Mundials and the World Cups, the leather ones were probably the best boots you would ever wear, wouldn't they? They were just solid, good leather boots,
I preferred the leather boot myself. I'm sort of retired. I'm still using old boots. I have to say, the ones I got at Soccer Aid I don't use, but I'm donating those. But I use old boots. In the World Cup 2010, I played in a pair of boots which are 4 years old, because I preferred those boots to the modern ones that I was offered. So I mean, you in the end, I think you fall in love with one certain boot, and you sort of try and navigate towards that. So there are boots out there, I'm sure, which people who are looking for them will be able to find them.
Absolutely, and it encourages people to play football, and that's the most important thing, the best sport in the world.
Absolutely.
Listen, there's some huge clubs getting involved in this, which is wonderful to see. You've got the likes of Leeds, Southampton, Derby County, all signed up to the campaign. So there is a good chance here that kids could potentially be playing in something that a pro has used, which leads on to my next question for you, okay? So we've got a young David James. His dream is to be a footballer, which you achieved. You're a young boy right now. You're part of Football Rebooted back when you were a youngster. You go over to a club. Who would have been the player that you wish you had got the boots from, maybe, or the gloves from? Who was your player that you think, that would have been cool?
Well, actually, I think it would have been Bruce Grobler, who was the Liverpool goalkeeper at the time. I was a big fan, having seen him played. And ironically, I went to Liverpool when Bruce was there and essentially took his place. So, yeah, I mean, I suppose using this story, you could actually end up with a pair of boots of a hero and then go and join the club and take his place. I mean, that would be wonderful. So almost like a movie.
Well, of course it is. It's an absolute movie. Yeah, I think for me, it probably would have been Beck's. I reckon Beckham. I think the original Beckham Predator would have been the one. I mean, it probably would have been worth tens of thousands of pounds now if I had that boot laying around in the cupboard.
Wow. Funnily enough, my kids have got a pair of David Beckham football boots.
No way.
Yes.
Oh, there we go. Maybe you could donate them to a Young Fun Kids presenter just over here. You never know. I'd take them off your hands.
I'll have to ask my kids. I say my kids. They're in their 20s now, but yes.
And David, final bit, how are you finding the Premier League season this year? A bit of football chat. Are you enjoying it? What are you thinking about it this year? Who's going to win it?
Conor, at the beginning of the season, there was this sort of pent up enthusiasm, which I hadn't felt for many years. People were saying that it was going to be the most amazing season. It's, can't wait to look forward to it. And there was a little bit about it, which sort of happens every year, but it felt different this year, and it has not disappointed. I know we're coming back off the weekend where Liverpool, Mo Salah, wow, were just unbelievably good. West Ham beat Tottenham. I mean, I'm not trying to put any of the listeners off here by showing my loyalties, but yeah, I mean, it's just been absolutely incredible. I mean, we've got three teams who are, I think, I wouldn't say head and shoulders above the rest, but there seems to be a clear difference. But the fact there's three teams already looking like either one of them or any one of them could win the league, and I'd imagine this is going to go until the end of the season. So we're in a wonderful place at the moment with the Premier League. Down the bottom, it's a little bit more murky, but there's still a chance because it's still early. So what a season!
Yeah, I'm a West Ham fan myself. I was at the game yesterday.
Oh, you
The
went?
1-0. Yeah,
The atmosphere was amazing, wasn't it?
the atmosphere was incredible, and that was what I was going to say to you as well. It just shows the importance of football after what has been probably the toughest 18 months for everybody. The feeling when you're in that ground and everyone's back, just watching the teams they love. I don't think there's a feeling quite like it. It's quite overwhelming. It's incredible, and yesterday was a real moment of that.
Yeah, I mean, I'm buzzing for West Ham on so many different fronts. I mean, one of them is that there was as you know, there was a lot of, shall I say, not so positive talk about the stadium, about the
Yeah,
atmosphere. I know they shifted the stand slightly,
yeah,
and what I saw yesterday on TV was a rocking London stadium, and I was so happy. I mean, the fact it was
yeah.
Tottenham, sort of added to it, but it's just that
Absolutely.
West Ham fans at the moment are in a lovely place because their team's doing well. They've got a lot to shout about. I've got a lot of West Ham friends, so the text messages are always positive at the moment, which is so good. And I'm going to the game on Wednesday. Wednesday.
Yeah,
Carabao
Manchester
Cup.
City on Wednesday, Carabao Cup.
Yes, that will be a test
That will be a test.
for City as well.
For City as well, absolutely. For City as well. We're a good old team, the Irons. David, thank you so much for popping on. I think the message you're trying to spread as well and what you're doing here is absolutely fantastic. And us at Fun Kids, we're completely behind it, especially myself. So we'll spread that message as much as we can.
Thanks very much, Conor. Thanks for having me on the show. Loved it.
No problem at all. Thank you, David.